Clear pools, flowing waterfalls, folktale, and serene picnic spots. These are the hallmarks of the park that houses the boulders, a major tourist attraction in Queensland. While it draws countless visitors with its beauty, locals who are aware of its darker side tread carefully, knowing that the park can be as dangerous as it is captivating. This park does house a pool ominously known as the washing machine. The water in this pool is notorious for its unpredictable currents, sometimes calm, sometimes ferociously fast. If only James Bennett, a naval officer and seasoned adventurer, had known about this perilous feature. His life might have been spared if he had been aware of the true danger lurking beneath the surface. Join me as we delve into details on what happened on November 30th, 2008. James Andrew Bennett was a 23-year-old Navy officer from Queensland, Australia. He was a true patriot who has dedicated his life to serving his country. From a young age, James showed a strong determination to join the Royal Australian Navy. His commitment to his role is evident in his desire to remain in the armed forces for a long time, aiming to rise through the ranks with each passing year. James has a passion for research, and his friends and co-workers describe him as a joyful person who brings positive energy wherever he goes. However, his need for adventure led him away from being an everyday Navy worker. He chose to take on something much more dangerous, becoming a mine hunter. This job is crucial because the actions of James and a few other mine hunters can save many lives. The role is dangerous, as it often involves venturing into unexplored areas filled with mines, with no knowledge of their exact locations. Only the most intelligent are chosen for this job to minimize casualties. After working as a mine hunter for a few years, James has built a reputation for himself, earning respect from people all over. James was an adventurer who loved nature, exploring and researching. What he loved most was discovering new things that were unknown to him. He decided to explore the Babinda Boulders, a beautiful scenery located about 4 miles from Babinda, Australia. Unknown to James, this pool had a dark secret, having claimed the lives of many, which earned it the nickname, the Devil's Pool. Unfortunately, James didn't do proper research about the Babinda Boulders before he arrived, so he was going into this adventure blind, much like he does his job. James called his friends Adam Farley, John Twala, and Zoe Twala to invite them on an adventure, and they all agreed. James arrived first, while the others drove down together. Despite this, they all reached the park around the same time. The adventure began like any other. It was calm, and they took in the view of the beautiful boulders. They strolled down to the picnic area of the park and headed to the Devil's Pool from there. When they got to the pool, the water was roaring. John, who was calmer than the rest and had an eye for spotting odd things, noticed a sign that said, "Do not go down into the water." He immediately called his friends' attention to it, warning them that it was too dangerous to get in. He suggested they could still have fun without getting into the water. They all agreed that they would not go in. Not far from where they stood, they spotted some local kids jumping into the water on the other side of the creek. The sight of the kids, who were without adult supervision and jumping in and out of the water safely, made the group question their decision. They wondered if the kids could do it. Why couldn't they? John, however, didn't share their thoughts. Seeing the kids in the dangerous water enraged him. He wondered what kind of parents would leave their children unsupervised in such a park filled with warning signs. John feared that if one of the children got swept away by the current, it could be a devastating scene with no way to save them. As John continued to watch, he noticed a few people with backpacks appearing out of nowhere. It was strange, because these people seemed ready to get into the water and looked like they weren't with the kids. While the group was debating whether to enter the water, they noticed John was distracted, possibly thinking of going in to grab the kids. Suddenly, John, who had initially been against going into the water, climbed over the railings. He motioned for his friends to join him in investigating what was happening. Unknown to them, this decision would turn out to be one of the biggest mistakes of their lives, one that would remain etched in their memories for a very long time. Despite its calm appearance, with no clear warning signs, the area seemed to encourage the group to go in and swim, giving them a false sense of security. When they got there, they prepared for a relaxing afternoon of swimming, having fun, and catching up. They perched themselves on a large rock and took out some adult beverages from their bags. The view from the rock was breathtaking, which prompted John and James to go into the water for a swim. The initial plan was to get in and out of the water quickly. Seeing John and James having a good time, Adam felt motivated to join them for a swim. So, they all went to the calm edge of the water, where the current seemed weaker compared to the other parts. After a while, Adam got out of the pool dangling his legs above the water. James decided to swim over to join his friend. Suddenly, as James swam down to meet Adam, he felt a strong surge in the water current. Panicking, he began to lose control, and not long after, his body disappeared beneath the surface. Adam was about to jump into the water to join James when he noticed what was happening. James was screaming and shouting, scared for his life. He was trying his best to move forward, but the current pushed him backward toward the downstream end of the pool. From his experience in the Navy, he knew that was the worst place he could be, so he tried everything he could to avoid it. James spotted a branch from a nearby tree and grabbed onto its branch, holding on for dear life. Even though the water was still pulling at his body, he used every bit of strength he had to cling to the branch, which was his only lifeline. But as luck would have it, the branch snapped in two. Adam, worried for his friend, knew he had to act fast. He ran around the edge of the pool, his fear of the rushing water growing with each step. As Adam called out for James, he saw a hand stretch out from the water. Summoning his courage, Adam stretched out as far as he could, desperate to reach James. Almost instantly, James's struggle seemed to cease, and his arm slipped out of sight. He had already given up. Seeing this, Adam was terrified and shouted for the rest of their friends, who were shockingly unaware of what was happening around them. Fear and panic were evident on all their faces. What was supposed to be a day of adventure and exploration had taken a turn for the worse, leaving them with a bone-chilling experience. Now, they had to start a rescue mission to find their lost friend, completely disorganized and in shock. Folklore tells that the park might be haunted by the spirits of two young members of the Yavinji tribe who were settlers in Babinda before Western society arrived. A young woman named Ulana from the tribe was promised to the tribe's leader, Warunu. Ulana, who had no feelings for Warunu, was betrothed to him at a very young age, but fell in love with another man, Dika, a young warrior of the tribe. Dika reciprocated her feelings, and they soon became lovers. Determined to escape Warunu's wrath, the two decided to flee from Babinda. However, they were discovered by the tribe leaders who hunted them down. They fled until they reached the boulders region of the park, where their pursuers had already caught up to them. In a desperate move, Ulana jumped into the river, calling out for her love, Dika, who followed her not long after. Tragically, Dika perished in the river, and Ulana, overwhelmed with grief, cried out in pain. It is said that her anguished cry shattered the rocks and turned the pool around her into a raging current. To this day, people believe this tale, assuming it to be the reason why young men are lured into the pool region and killed, claiming that Ulana's curse still lingers. John and Soy, still at a loss for words, left the danger site to join the rescue team at the picnic area. At around 3 p.m., they called the police department in Babinda. Understanding the urgency, the police quickly dropped what they were doing and headed to the park. The police, EMTs, and the rescue team arrived with sirens blaring and faces set with determination. The police began investigating to understand exactly what had happened. Adam, still in shock, tried his best to recount the events to the police. As the efforts of the rescue team and police seemed to be in vain, the department decided to enlist the help of the swift water rescue team from the Queensland Fire Station and contacted other emergency agencies. Each agency responded swiftly to the distress signal, and the search for James continued. Due to the treacherous nature of the washing machine pool, most rescue officials hesitated to enter, finding it a difficult terrain to navigate. The police, still puzzled, asked if James had been drunk when the incident occurred. They were told he had only taken a small drink before swimming. For about 10 days after James's disappearance, various rescue teams took shifts to avoid burning out. Everyone knew that if someone was lost at sea for 10 days, the chances of survival were slim, but the constant search continued in a desperate attempt to deny the inevitable. On Tuesday, December 2nd, just as the sun began to rise, the officers noticed something that looked like a body quite far from them, so they went to investigate. James's body was found in the deeper pool, about 150 meters away from where he had last been seen. The current in the area was truly dangerous. The atmosphere was filled with grief from the naval officers, his friends, and his family. The team made their best efforts to retrieve his body intact. Hours passed, but they were able to accomplish this by 4 p.m. Dr. Bottarelli, after consulting an autopsy, concluded that James had died by drowning. He suffered greatly due to how the current carried him around, causing him to be repeatedly thrown against the rocks. James Bennett's tragic story is a powerful reminder of nature's hidden dangers. Remember to always respect local warnings and stay safe during your adventures. If you found this story insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more true stories. Stay tuned for our next video.